Before we get to our show, here is a podcast we think you're going to love.
Hello! My name is Logan Lemaster, and I'm one of the hosts of The Mystery Files, and I was homeschooled.
They can tell. My name is Tiffany Walker, maybe it's Bulk, I don't know, but I'm one of the other hosts of The Mystery Files, and I see demons in my sleep. Just girly things.
Duh!
We are college best friends here. We cover true crime cases, unsolved paranormal activity cases, and other things that seem to be left a mystery.
With a twist of comedic banter.
In each show, one of us will introduce a case to the other one.
And the other will react and try to solve the presenter's case. We are here for the chaos, we are here for the mystery.
And we are here for the fun. So listen to the new episodes of The Mystery Files on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Please subscribe, rate, and review, and share. Check us out on Instagram at @themysteryfiles_, or on TikTok at The Mystery Files Podcast. But until then, all of our cases will forever remain a mystery. Yeah.
Friends, enemies, BD Wong, gather around. Have we said that this is everyone's favorite Unsolved Mysteries rewatch podcast in a while? Or that it's super unofficial?
Because it's just obvious.
You're so
We should
right.
probably say that it's unofficial.
So unofficial. Do not sue.
I mean, it'd be a waste of your time, really, but no, please don't.
Yeah, I don't want to. The stress. The stress. No, thank you. Yeah, also we have I don't know, a handful of change. So it's really not going to be worth it. There's no deep pockets here.
Nah.
No. And it's really unofficial. So it's just not worth your time. What if we made that part of our tagline? Super unofficial, please don't sue. That was
it's not worth your time.
Yeah, it's perhaps it's you. An unofficial Unsolved Mysteries podcast. Please don't sue. I don't have time for it. Please. How are you doing today, Samantha?
I'm
post Blizzard.
Post Blizzard. I'm fine. It wasn't as big of a snow as they were predicting, but we did get a lot of snow.
How's Alfie faring?
He seems fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, as long as he has food, he's good.
It's
not like me like that.
I respect it. Yeah, people are like, "Are you ready for the snow?" I was like, "I got snacks." What else?
What else am I supposed to do? I don't know.
I'll be here sitting on I have not left the house this whole week, and I am. It's a little goblin. I'm a little feral, I think. I'm gonna shower after this. I promise.
Yeah. The thing about it in winter is it just doesn't matter.
It's so true. I don't know how people who live in places where it's nice all the time, do you ever decompress? Do you ever just do nothing?
I've sort of thought that as well. Summer is so busy, and maybe you just don't pack as much in to summer. If it's always summer, maybe that's it. So you don't get as burnt out as we do. But yeah, man, I need winter to chill out. When people are "Are you ready for the snowstorm?" I'm like, hell yeah, I'm ready. I can't wait. I have no reason to. I don't have to leave my house. I have an excuse to just sit around and eat snacks and do nothing.
Right,
not make plans. Exactly. Cancel the plans I have. Everything is fabulous. It's fantastic. Love a snowstorm.
Samantha's I am living my best life. Just vibing at home. Yeah. In terms of updates, I'll protect this listener's anonymity, but we did have a question about getting a Perhaps It's You tattoo.
Are we gonna crowdsource some ideas? Because
yeah,
I don't know how I feel about this. On one hand, I really want to caution people against actually doing this, but on the other hand, I sort of really want someone to do it. I'm of two minds about
exactly.
A tattoo.
I think that it's a terrible, horrible idea, but on the other hand, I am intrigued. I mean, really, every tattoo is a bad idea, and that's part of what makes them so great. Okay, ideas. Image ideas for Perhaps It's You tattoo, which you should not get.
Okay, I'm immediately thinking to go cute. And
Yeah.
like a ghost in a bottle, obviously.
Oh, that would be so good. I want that.
This is why it was my first thought, because I kind of want a ghost in a bottle tattoo. I think that would be adorable. I think there's a lot of options there as far as design.
We had also talked about getting a rosy maple moth tattoo, which is this podcast's official moth. You know, there's some characters from the show, such as Robbie Stacky, or
definitely
the Porpoise of Justice, maybe.
Yep. A hedgehog.
A
capybara. You could have a whole crew.
Really, you should get a Perhaps It's You sleeve.
A back piece, just a whole thing.
No,
yeah, Robert Stack surrounded by all of the characters.
That's so bad. Good luck explaining that.
No, don't get Rusty. He's a dirtbag.
Yeah, no Rusty.
No Rusty Corvette.
I'm gonna say don't do that thing where you get a little mustache on your finger that was popular like 15 years ago. Don't do that, because
I don't want this podcast represented by someone with a finger mustache.
No. Also, those things don't hold up. Don't get finger tattoos. They don't last.
Good advice.
It's gonna just turn into a blob. Yeah, and also just ew.
There's never a treasure. You could have like a whole little treasure box.
That would be an empty treasure box.
Empty treasure box.
That would be really good.
Yes, a lost love. I feel like somehow someone should design a lost love tattoo. I would consider something like that. I think that would be
like an old school tattoo, an old school TV that says "Lost Love" on it.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
That would be so good.
You could make it staticky.
Yeah,
that would be really cool.
That's good.
I need artists, graphic designers. I need all of you to put your heads together and come up with some ideas and send them to us, because I think we're gonna crowdsource this person's Perhaps It's You tattoo.
Yeah. So I mean,
don't do it, but also do it.
Don't do it, but also do it. Maybe it's Bigfoot as a ghost.
Maybe he's got to have a really smoking hot booty.
No, oh God, no.
He's like looking over his shoulder. He's got the booty out. Yeah.
No, that's so terrible. I like that. That's where I draw the line. Okay, obviously Mothman.
Yes. I mean, how could we not mention Mothman?
Maybe Mothman saying hi to BD Wong.
Okay, that is how. So this was going to be my question about the Mothman tattoo: is can we claim Mothman as a Perhaps It's You image? Like, I don't think that's like specific enough to this podcast to be a Perhaps It's You tattoo. I mean, get a Mothman tattoo, yes, but like that's not necessarily going to be Perhaps It's You. Unless he's got like headphones on, he's listening to Perhaps It's You. I don't know.
That would be great. Yeah. Or maybe he's holding a ghost in a bottle, or he's eating a novelty Kit Kat.
And drinking a polar water?
Yeah, okay. If you get Mothman drinking a polar water, then it is a Perhaps It's You tattoo. Because Mothman belongs to us all. We can't claim him. He's here to warn us about our failing infrastructure, and that is just a message for the entire United States. So we can't claim him or his booty. But if you can tie it in another, like maybe Mothman is wearing a trench coat.
Okay. Oh, there you go. I like that. Mothman in a trench coat. Yeah.
Then maybe.
You gotta Perhaps It's You-ify it.
Right. Maybe Mothman is like holding a balloon, and the balloon is an alien head.
Like Robbie Stacky.
Yeah.
Okay. You got some really good ideas. This is a good brainstorming.
We've started the ball rolling. We've started spitballing here. I feel like there's something to work with.
Yeah, we're here to help you out
with your idea that you definitely should not do.
If someone gets I feel like you need. Okay, no.
Oh my God.
I was gonna no. I don't know if I should say.
Sorry.
I was gonna say but I don't know if I should say it, but I'm gonna say, maybe I'll edit this out later. If you get a Perhaps It's You tattoo, there should be like a reward. Like I don't want to incentivize this, which is my deal. Like you get to be like an honorary patron.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
I don't know if I want to incentivize this because I don't really think this is a good idea, but also I want someone to do it. So I'm very conflicted.
I think if you get a Perhaps It's You tattoo, you get free Patreon for life. I mean,
I think you'd have. I mean, I could not say no to that.
Yeah. Sorry, you do. You shouldn't have done it, but here's your reward.
Maybe that's not a good enough reward to make it worth it to someone.
It's kind of really not. So
I don't think it would be, but
okay, I'm gonna
hilarious.
Oh,
hilarious.
Should we start talking about season? We're still on season 7, folks. Season 7.
Season 7 for a while. Before we do that, do you mind if I do a one-sided snack time?
Yeah, I do mind.
Okay, well, in my defense, you couldn't drink this anyway because it has caffeine in it. I was out this morning looking for the Peeps Pepsi. That was not the purpose of my trip. I went to the grocery store. And then on the way home, I was like, I'm gonna stop at CVS. They always have the novelty beverages. No one seems to have this Pepsi Peeps Pepsi. Why don't they call it Peepsy? I don't know. But I did find this like novelty limited edition Coke flavor that I want to try. This is the Move flavor. It was on sale. I feel like that might mean that it's not good and no one wants to buy it.
I heard this was good.
Okay, it's okay, what do they call it? Transformation flavored. Do you know what that means?
That's just a bullshit marketing word is what that means.
What is the actual flavor? Okay, I'm gonna try it. Why do all of these limited edition Cokes taste like popcorn to me?
I don't know. I do not know.
I have no idea what this tastes like. I don't hate it, but it does have a little bit of a popcorn taste.
Maybe that's what the people want. Or not, because this was on clearance.
I don't think they want it. At least I got the mini cans.
My initial reaction to you saying this was transformation flavored was that why didn't they wait till the Transformer movie comes out?
Great question. I think this is a real missed opportunity.
They can't trademark the word transformation. You could have had a fake tie-in.
This seems to be like, I don't know, it's Valentine's Day adjacent, I think.
What does that have to do with transforming?
I don't know. Let me look it up on Candy Hunting. They usually say what the flavor is supposed to be. I really wish I was drinking Peeps Pepsi right now.
Peepsy.
Does anyone know? Does it taste like Peeps?
I have no idea.
Does anyone know? No one can find it. So, okay, I found it. Okay, vanilla and fruit. More vanilla forward with a hint of fruit.
A hint of what is that?
This is how Candy Hunting describes it. This is not officially from Coke. It's just the person who runs this account describes it as vanilla and fruit, but a little more vanilla, which
you're saying popcorn.
These all taste like fucking popcorn to me.
Is it like a popcorn Jelly Belly?
Yeah, actually, that is how I would describe this.
Huh.
The caramel corn flavored Jelly Belly. I don't hate it. It doesn't taste as much like popcorn to me as the like outer space one did, but it does taste a little like popcorn to me. If the Peeps Pepsi tastes like popcorn, I'm gonna be pissed.
Then we'll know that it's you. You're just like,
I have a conspiracy that a lot of these novelty flavored things are just the same flavor, just in a different package. That's kind of how I'm starting to feel about novelty Oreos. I feel like they all taste the same to me.
You know, you're probably onto something.
There's no way they're putting all that R&D money into like putting on a new flavor that's only out for a couple months, right? Like they're just reusing them. Maybe they tweak them slightly, but they like kind of reuse some of it. And that's why it all kind of tastes sort of similar, but a little off.
Unsolved Mysteries, get to the bottom of this.
This is my novelty beverage and treat conspiracy theory.
You thought you had something going with the octopus? Who cares? Let's get to the bottom.
There's gonna be a 6-part Netflix series on this. Just you wait.
There probably will be, and it'll be so boring and no one will watch it. And then Netflix will wonder why they are hemorrhaging money. And also, you'll only be able to watch 3 episodes 1 month, and then you have to wait to the next month to watch the other 3 episodes. And
so that you don't cancel your subscription.
Yeah, exactly. Except that no one will watch it at all.
I mean, I think that's probably going to be true, but you heard it here first, folks. They all taste like popcorn.
Yeah. It's like sort of biting commentary you can only get on this show.
Yeah.
Perhaps It's You. Oh my God. I sometimes say Perhaps It's You and Unsolved Mysteries interchangeably. I almost just said this was a Perhaps It's You rewatch podcast.
Oh my God. What if someone makes a Perhaps It's You re-listen podcast?
Good luck with that.
Oh, it sounds horrible. I already want to listen to. Oh, I barely want to edit these episodes. I'm like, I have to listen to myself talk.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's different for other people. I don't know. Someone's tuning into this thing. It's just a bunch of bots. It's just a bunch of bots and my mom. And this one person that's going to get a tattoo. That's it.
Well, I hope the bots are entertained.
Yeah, have a good time, bots. Okay, are we ready now for...
I think so.
The meat of this?
Absolutely.
Okay. We're starting off today with a... Oh, no, you go first.
I'm first. This is a mysterious sound, an unexplained phenomenon.
Yeah, this is interesting.
I like a mystery like this. I feel like I've talked about it before, like mysterious sounds, like mysterious noises in the ocean. Like
I thought you would be into this. I've definitely heard of this.
I was, but I also don't. I don't know.
I've heard about the Taos hum before. I hadn't heard about it connected to these other sites.
ELF phenomenon.
So that's kind of interesting. So go ahead.
All right. So we hear that across the... Okay, first of all, Robert Stack starts on this episode in like a sound booth. And he's
That's the only thing they could think of. And also they had easy access to one.
Here's my question about Robert Stack at the beginning of this episode. Is he coked out?
Probably.
Like, why? I feel like on something at the beginning of this episode. I was like, what is Robert Stack's deal? He's squinty-eyed. And
I feel like this is slander, Samantha.
Moving very slowly. Look, I'm fine with it. I'm just not understanding why he
does seem to be having a too good of a time. I'll say that. He seems very into the sound booth in a way that a non-stone person would not be.
Probably wouldn't be, is all I'm saying. So that's really funny. Anyway, he starts out by telling us that across the world, thousands of people are reporting hearing an odd hum. It's a sonic phenomenon that only they can hear.
I'm surprised people haven't claimed this is me laughing. Maybe that's coming.
It's a little
Maybe that's
too
next.
Quiet.
Oh, that's...
I think it's the...
That's I see.
There's nothing wrong with your laugh, Liz. The cackling must continue.
I'm waiting for it to be blamed for avalanches, for structural damage to the foundation of people's homes.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah. So it's only a matter of time until I'm somehow blamed for the Taos hum.
So we meet a couple different people in this episode who experience this humming sound. Not all of them live near Taos, New Mexico, but some of them do. So Sarah Allen has reported that the sound doesn't change even if she moves around to different places.
It's very constant and doesn't seem to have a source. It's not an alarm.
With anything. I have a problem sometimes, and I think it's some sounds for me are kind of migraine triggers, and particularly low engine noises. So where I used to live not that long ago, people would idle their big obnoxious trucks in the parking lot across the street, and it drove me insane because it's just this low humming noise that feels like it gets inside my head. And I get that way if there's construction activity or trucks in a construction area. There was 2 streets down from us last year, there was like a new community building being built, and like there were a lot of trucks, and every once in a while it would just like get inside my head and it would drive me crazy. But that has like a specific source to it, and it stops once the truck turns off or whatever. This is different in that it seems to always be there. It doesn't change when someone moves around, and they can't really pinpoint a cause that is external to the person.
And I'm assuming that these people have been checked for tinnitus.
I assume so. Yeah. I mean, we see one guy go to this doctor. I don't know if I wrote down his name. He's the doctor with the weird eyebrows.
Oh, yeah. Dr. Eyebrows. Sure.
Yeah. Dr. Eyebrows. They're like too close to the center of his head and they're like tilted. I don't know. He's got weird eyebrows. But anyway, that one guy went to him and he couldn't find any like medical cause.
Okay.
So we meet Winona Whithead, who claims that it sounds like the air is sizzling. Which is interesting.
I know what she means by that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, imagine, like, I don't know, if that sound being with you always, it sounds horrible.
Yeah.
This is the guy who I think went to Dr. Eyebrows, Hal Renanio. He claims that it sounds like a diesel engine running, and it causes him ear pain.
You really said that as if that guy's name is
His actual name was Dr. Eyebrows.
Oh, he went to Dr. Eyebrows.
Yeah.
Samantha, do you know a good doctor in town I should see? And you're like, oh, yeah, Dr.
Yeah, you gotta see Dr. Eyebrows. He's great.
You know what? Someone on this fucking show would be named Dr. Eyebrows. We've seen some.
Probably.
I mean, we had a Willie Frisbee on this show. We've had a rusty
Willie Frisbee.
We've had a rusty Corvette. Someone named Rusty Corvette, folks. Someone named, if you didn't listen to that episode, Willie Frisbee. So I don't see why we won't one day encounter a Dr. Eyebrows.
Nothing would surprise me at this point.
Exactly.
We're constantly going, that's not a real name. Every time we talk about an episode of Unsolved Mysteries.
And it's because someone is named fucking Johnny Pool Noodle. Or Dr. Eyebrows.
So Hal claimed that he started hearing the hum after he moved to a small lakeside town just outside of Detroit. At first, he assumed that it was a motor sound. However, the longer the sound continued, the more it caused him to lose focus. And also the fact that it just never went away. He checked with the local airport. He looked at the ventilation systems of the place he worked. And he looked all over to other places where he believed a sound could come from, but he really was never able to determine the origin of the sound he was hearing.
At some point, he's just like driving around trying to find out where the sound's coming from, and it never gets like less or more intense. Like it's never louder or quieter. It's just
always the same
hum. And he's literally like, oh my God, where is this? It sounds maddening.
It does. It really does. And I think he's also the one that Unsolved Mysteries goes with him to like an underground, like old mine shaft. And he's like, oh, it's actually worse down here.
He was like, I'm so disappointed. I thought I would be able to escape it. But yeah, it's like actually worse. He could like feel it in his bones.
Yeah, which sounds horrible. But also like, what if it had gone away and he just decided to live in that mine shaft?
Like, well, I could live in a cave now.
I suppose if you could escape it, you probably would live anywhere.
It doesn't sound like something you can tune out. Like I'm kind of near the airport and planes fly over the house. Not like constantly, but you know, regularly. And when people come to visit, they're like, doesn't that bother you? And I'm like, doesn't what bother me? Like I just don't even hear it.
Yeah.
But up at this just sounds like it's grating.
Yeah, it sounds maddening. A few people suggested to Hal that the hum was coming from electrical fields in the area and suggested that he go to that underground copper mine I mentioned, but he was still able to hear it and it was actually worse.
So sad.
Yeah, not great. Sarah Allen is a radio broadcast engineer. She claims to have started hearing the hum in 1992 after she was dispatched to repair a transmitter. She's able to play for Unsolved Mysteries a digital recording that she created of what, like an approximation of what it sounds like to her, and she plays it for us, and it is just a hum. She has to turn it up for us to get a good, like, to be able to like really hear it. But she says it's a lot quieter in her own head. She is the one who lives in Taos, New Mexico, where the hum is most often reported, which is why it's called the Taos hum sometimes. They play the digital recording for Winona Whithead. She lives near Santa Fe, and she said that the recording was very close to what she often hears.
Except that what she hears is like worse and more grating.
Yeah, she was like, that actually sounds nicer than what I hear. She describes it as like a grating glass sound, I think. I forget the exact words she used, but it was like grinding glass, which is horrifying to imagine hearing that all the time. She started hearing the sound in 1990. And for her, it has completely disrupted her life. She's on disability from her job at the National Park Service. So it's like really interrupting her daily life, and that sounds horrible. So hundreds of people who hear the mysterious hum are now part of a support group. They believe that the hum could be caused by a radio system known as ELF, or extremely low frequency. This is a radio frequency that the Navy created to communicate with submarines, because traditional radio frequencies won't go through like miles and miles of water. However,
this is so interesting.
Yeah. And I feel like, I don't know, this just seems like such a, like, it seems like one of those things that I could imagine the US military developing and not, thinking about unintended consequences.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
This like low frequency, like what does it do to animals or whales, or like, you know what I mean?
Oh, the poor whales. I
Right.
hadn't thought about that. Samantha, the poor whales.
Yeah. I mean, you'd think there would be animals that could pick up on it.
Surely. Isn't it fascinating, though, that your dog can hear all these things that you can't hear?
It is
It's
fascinating.
so weird. Or like you do that test for like a sound younger people can hear, like people over 30 or something basically can't hear this frequency. So strange.
It's wild. Or like certain animals that can like see different colors that we can't see. Like it's just wild.
If you think about it, there's tons of stuff that we can't see.
Mm-hmm.
I think about that a lot when we're talking about ghosts, actually.
Oh, sure.
That like there could be stuff here that we can't see, right?
Yeah, that we don't know to look for or how to look for.
Because animals are seeing like all these different colors that we can't see, apparently. Yeah. Which is also rude. I want to see them.
I want to see those colors.
What if they're great? What if they're my favorite color?
They probably would be.
Ugh.
So this ELF system, extremely low frequency, has been in use since the 1980s. It was first heard in Great Britain in 1970, and since then it has been heard in Canada, France, Germany, Australia, South Africa, China, Australia, and New Zealand. And it continues to confuse and annoy those who hear it.
That's my mission, to confuse and annoy.
So, this is Eugene Flaum. This is Dr. Eyebrows.
Samantha, show some respect and call him by his proper name.
Dr. Flaum.
No, Dr. Eyebrows.
You're right. Dr. Eyebrows. Eugene Eyebrows. So he is an ear, nose, and throat doctor.
Oh, not an eyebrow doctor. That's, you can't have it all.
There's no picture of him. I've just looked up the Unsolved Wiki, and there's only a picture of Taos, New Mexico. I'm Googling this man's name to see if I can find a picture of his eyebrows. Eugene Flaum.
I think you have to name the eyebrows. Well, I guess they're just Dr. Eyebrows' eyebrows.
Okay, there is a Dr. Eugene Flaum in Los Angeles, California, and his eyebrows, I think it's because of how he squints his face that his eyebrows look curved.
You are obsessed. Okay, well, maybe he moved out to LA and, you got to wax.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Anyway.
He's changed his eyebrows up a bit. He's getting them threaded now.
Yeah, I think this is the same guy. Yeah, he's still practicing medicine, and
he's going to sue us probably.
I was about to say Dr. Eyebrows. Dr. Flaum, do not sue us. We like your eyebrows. They're not as pronounced in this photo I'm looking at. Anyway, I've been spending too much time talking about this man's eyebrows. He is a premier ear, nose, and throat specialist. Unsolved Mysteries brought him in to meet with Hal and determine if the hum was due to some sort of hearing problem. He was found to be suffering from a little bit of hearing loss, which I don't think is like that uncommon. But there was nothing specific that was able to be found that would explain the bizarre hum. A team of scientists were sent to Taos to find the source of the hum. They brought in sophisticated sound and radiation sensing equipment. They found nothing unusual in the town whatsoever.
Radiation sensing equipment.
I don't know what that would do, but the sufferers of this, one of the reasons why they think that it could be this extremely low frequency is because it seems to get worse when the United States is like in the middle of some sort of military action. So, right. It just seems to coincide. Like now that all these people can talk to each other, and it might be even more so now. I'm sure there's like Facebook groups and things. Now that these people were able to like connect and talk to each other, they were able to compare experiences, and they could like see a correlation between some sort of military action by the United States and like their symptoms getting worse or more frequent. So it's one of the reasons why they think it could be this.
Or the hum is just me in the other room humming all the time.
What does Mac think? Does Mac suffer from an unexplained hum? Is it actually you?
It's just me humming. It's actually very explained.
Could it be, and I'm not accusing Dr. Eyebrows of anything, but like generally speaking, like could it also be possible that like things like tinnitus can cause like ringing in the ears and things like that, but could there's also be some sort of medical issue that like doctors are just dismissing because there's no like obvious way to diagnose it? Like the human body is also mysterious, and
that's what I was gonna say.
Like it seems like this is, and even I think Hal described it as being like within him. Like he thinks of it as something that's inside him and not necessarily external. And because it never changes. A lot of these people describe it as being constant and always there. And sure, the US, I wouldn't put it past the US government to be constantly putting out some sort of low frequency sound waves that bother certain people. That's, I think, just as possible. But I think it's also just as possible that maybe it's like something medical that's within your own body, and doctors are just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that medically that we don't know. We kind of act like we figured everything out, and that couldn't be further from the truth. So I think this would be easy to dismiss, but it's a lot of people, and I don't really see why they would make it up. It sounds extremely annoying and terrible. Yeah, there's just we're learning about illnesses all the time, and until we have a very like precise Western medicine understanding of things, we're very dismissive, and then we go, oh wait, yeah, that is real. So I don't know, I'm glad I don't have it. I hope I don't get it. My sympathies to everyone experiencing the hum. Also, Taos, what's up with you?
What's going on?
Have you ever been to Taos? I've not been to Taos. It's like where rich people buy ranches and in New Mexico. It's like where like I think like Julia Roberts and it's like where you buy your like fifth home if you're very wealthy.
Okay.
That's what Taos is for. And apparently hearing mysterious hums.
Oh, yeah, apparently.
Okay, so I, strangely enough, not Samantha, have a lost loves to talk about. And this isn't really a love. This is like a lost hero. A little while ago on Twitter, the website that's dying before our eyes, someone who had been in a car accident was also looking for the person that rescued them. And I suggested that they reach out to Unsolved Mysteries, and Unsolved Mysteries was like, yes, you should. And they were
really?
Like, whoa, yeah.
Wow.
I was like, I bet Unsolved Mysteries could figure this out for you, and they would love a story where nobody died and everybody was okay.
We need some lost loves.
Yeah, exactly.
In the next season of the reboot.
So maybe that's person's story.
Oh my god, what if Unsolved Mysteries connects with this person and that is featured on the reboot because of you?
I would be very honored to have played a small role.
It'd be amazing.
Okay, so we have now what Robert Stack calls a traveler's worst nightmare.
Really does sound like a horrible nightmare.
Yeah. Going to a foreign country, driving down a dark, winding road with almost no visibility, and suddenly losing control of your car. This is the story of the Dover family from Atlanta, Georgia. They were in Mexico on their way to celebrate Christmas with relatives when the journey was cut short by an unexpected disaster. They are only survived a car accident thanks to the heroism of two anonymous strangers. So this is their story. 2 days before Christmas in 1983, which was a great year, the Dover family loaded up into a van. So this was Joe Dover, his son Vance, his father-in-law James, their cousin Tommy, Tommy's 7-year-old son David, and a close family friend Marianne.
A lot of
So
people in this van.
it's a big van. They had recently gotten like a customized God, I forgot the word for that. But anyway, one of those, not a minivan, the full van. And it had a TV.
The full van.
The full van, you know, with a TV and a refrigerator, which in 1983, man, that's like luxury.
This is well before the van life influencers.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Probably this van is out there somewhere and people are living in it. Like it's been sold 12 times and remodeled and whatever. No, except that it was in this horrible accident. But whatever. Okay, we have a couple mustaches now. James has a boring gray mustache that I called the kabang. Which I guess is because they're in a car accident. That was in bad taste. Okay. Now we have Vance's long brown mustache, which I called Custom Van and Proud.
Okay.
All right, I don't know. So
I was gonna say that was not your best work, but I know that that they really
wow.
come to you, and you know,
Yeah,
you're just a conduit for the mustache names.
Exactly. I can't help it that one was in bad taste and one is just not very good. So they were stocked up in their cool custom van to have an extremely good time on their drive. They planned to drive 1,200 miles from Atlanta to Ciudad Victoria, Mexico. They were trying to complete the drive in 48 hours and arrive by Christmas. So the adults were taking turns to avoid stopping. And then I just wrote down, wow, Unsolved Mysteries is giving us way too many details about this drive because I think it went into
I don't know
more
why
detail.
we needed the whole itinerary. It's not important.
It's really not. But there was even more detail than I just gave you. And at some point I just stopped writing it all down.
They show us a map of their route from Georgia to Mexico. It does not matter until they actually get where they're going.
But anyway, Vance was driving after crossing the border. The weather took a turn from the worst about an hour outside of Monterrey, the last major city before their final destination. Authorities had closed down the main roads to the mountains due to the weather, so they were taking some side road that was like still, I don't know, they shouldn't have been driving on that either. Clearly, despite trying to drive carefully on the alternate route, Vance suddenly lost control on the slippery road. They hit another car and Vance passed out at the wheel. Vance was pulled from the vehicle, I think that was by authorities, and he was in excruciating pain. He was unaware that the 4 occupants of the other vehicle were killed instantly, which is super sad. I realize it's not really the point of this segment, but I do find it odd that we don't even hear the names of these 4 people who died. I sort of don't feel like that would have been true if they were American.
It blew me away when Unsolved Mysteries said that everyone in the other vehicle died instantly, and that was all that was said.
It was just like, and they're dead. Who
cares?
We
are very concerned about the experience of this family, which, okay, fine, they're in the show, they are the ones looking for the heroes, but we hear absolutely nothing about an entire car full of people that died instantly.
I know.
Incredible.
It's hard to, yeah, not in the best taste. I assume that's because the Dover family is participating and they don't want them to feel bad, but it's a horrible accident. I don't think it's really their fault. I just wanted nice to acknowledge these people who passed away. Like,
one sentence about them is all we got.
Yeah, literally, we don't even know their names. Just 4 people. What were their ages? What did they do? Were they a family? Like, they're probably a family trying to go somewhere on Christmas. What a horrible tragedy.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, the Dovers had all survived, but they were in rough shape. By the time Joe was pulled from the vehicle, the rescue effort had been joined by an American couple, both of whom were doctors. He says at one point that thankfully the cold weather helped clog up their blood. So that's gross. I just wrote down grim. Okay.
Yeah, that's not great.
Tommy was pulled from the van and assumed dead. Fortunately, Tommy's young son was completely uninjured. He was just fine. I think he was in the middle, so he was like the best shielded. The unidentified American woman stayed by Vance's side during the hour journey to the nearest hospital, which was in Monterey. He specifically remembers a nurse named Alicia who was there, who helped him a lot. That's not the hero they're looking for, but thanks, Alicia. No one at the hospital knew where Vance's father and grandfather were, which added to his stress. Also, I think there's he does like say that the reason he remembers Alicia is because she spoke very good English, but I think there was a bit of a communications barrier, so he was under the impression that like everybody else was dead or dying. And I think they were in like pretty bad shape, but
well, the one kid was fine. He just, no one knew where he was. And I'm not sure that they were able to really like communicate very well.
Right. Also, he literally has traumatic head injuries. So, so it's not the easiest time for communication. So he was told that everybody else had head injuries and might not make it through the night, or that's what he remembers. They needed to put a pin in his knee, which was done without anesthesia. This is not really like a hospital. This is like a clinic, and it's or at least that's the way it looked in the reenactment. And it's kind of a bare bones operation. Like they didn't have a lot of whatever.
Right.
So, yikes! Glad that didn't happen to me. Anyway, Vance awoke to a quote Christmas miracle the next day when he saw that his young cousin David, who was the kid, he was actually fine. So he was not dying or on death's door. He was in the middle of the van. He was totally okay. And both Mary Ann and Tommy would recover from their injuries. He was also surprised to find that the American woman was still there watching over him, and that she brought everyone Christmas presents. Which,
oh my God.
I don't know where she was out in Monterey on Christmas Eve, like buying people shit. But anyway, amazing. So she also had news about his father and grandfather, and that they were still alive and they were being treated at another clinic. So the reason nobody at this place knew where his father and grandfather were is because obviously this place is too small to handle all of these people having such traumatic injuries, and they were like split up into different facilities. But that information just like didn't really get communicated well. So they weren't dead. They were being treated somewhere else. And that her husband, who was also a doctor, was there at the other facility watching over his father and grandfather. And she told him that her and her husband were on vacation and they just happened on the accident minute after it occurred, just like a wild coincidence. So this segment was filmed 12 years after the accident. Obviously, it had a large effect on the whole family. Basically, they like turned to the church. It made them really religious. They felt like this couple was their guardian angels. Joe became a lay pastor with his own congregation. And they believed that without the American couple's aid, things would have turned out very differently. Yeah, I don't know about that. I feel like the treatment they got was actually like from the clinic. And the couple's help is like more in like translating or talking to them than anything else. But
it wasn't clear to me what they did on the scene, but that the other people that were there couldn't have done, as far as like they just got them to the clinic. But like maybe they did some work to stabilize them. I don't know.
I think they did actually. You're right. I think they did do work at the scene. I feel like they're kind of downplaying the work that the other people did, but anyway, the night that this aired, a viewer called in from Houston to say she recognized the story of that of her friends, Dr. Nancy Hef Hanna and her husband John. And we don't get like a reunion or anything. They're just like, oh yeah, I know who that is, and that's it.
Film the reunion, Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah, I think it's
don't waste my time.
Really, this woman brought everyone presents, and she should have been like from Nancy. That would have been helpful, Nancy.
Yeah, get her. Yeah, give him a business card. I don't know.
I'm sure she told them at the time, and like obviously there's like so much going on, and like literally
they didn't remember
traumatic head injuries. Like he just was like, I don't know, that helpful woman who is here. We want to thank her. Yeah, just the fact that they don't talk about the other 4 people left a bad taste in my mouth, so I don't like that one.
It wasn't my favorite Lost Love, that's for sure.
Okay. I mean, some heroism. I want to like it, but I don't. Sorry. Okay. Go ahead.
All right, so I think this is a wanted.
Yes.
So I feel like I'm losing my mind because I swear to Satan that I watched an episode of TV about this case recently and I cannot figure it out. I feel like it was either 2020 or Dateline, but I can only find like a 5-part series that Dateline did in 2012 about this case, and I know I only watched one standalone episode, so it wasn't that. If you know what I'm talking about, you need to let me know because I feel like I'm in a time warp or a glitch in the Matrix or something because I swear I was watching this Unsolved Mysteries episode and I was like, this sounds so familiar. And then I'm like, okay, I swear either this is like an exact, like very similar case to something else I watched, like some other case, or there is an episode of TV out there about this case that I watched.
I have no idea.
Anyway, I feel like I'm losing it, but
In touch.
Yeah, and I got on my Roku and I looked at all of the apps I normally watch. I looked at Hulu, Peacock. I scrolled through and I could not figure out what I watched recently that featured a case either a case very similar to this or this very case. So anyway, this is what was that?
Nothing.
Oh. Well, I have to say, if you know what I'm talking about, please, for the sake of my sanity, get in touch because I swear I recently watched something about this. Okay, this is a wanted. We're looking for Randolph Dial and Bobby Parker. In 1886, artist Randolph Dial confessed to committing the September 16th, 1981 contract murder of karate instructor Kelly Dean Hogan.
That's a sentence you will only hear on Unsolved Mysteries.
Quite true. After serving several years in prison, he was transferred to a minimum security unit at Oklahoma State Reformatory.
Why did they get him minimum security? I was wondering.
This was maybe at a time after this escape from prison. This would not happen, but
he literally killed someone.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like most people in prison do not need to be in prison. They're not a danger to anyone. It's a huge waste of money, and it's exceptionally cruel. But this guy did honestly kill someone. It's not like he committed tax fraud and sold some pot, and I don't know.
Yeah, he actually was a danger. He was extremely manipulative. He was, not the kind of person you want, like, hanging out in your neighborhood. I don't know.
Well, she seemed to be able to just like come and go as he pleased.
Yeah, so he was a model, quote unquote, model prisoner while he was at the Oklahoma State Reformatory and was given access.
Every escaped prisoner we talk about is a model prisoner until they go peace out.
I'm not going to stick around. So he was given access to property outside of prison. He was assigned to be the caretaker of the home of Deputy Warden Randy Parker, which was right next to the prison. It was like on prison grounds. Actually, it wasn't like inside the walls of the prison, but it was on the prison grounds.
Weird. Why would he want a prisoner coming to his house every day?
I don't know, particularly a murderer. I mean, he has 2 young daughters. His wife, like, Randolph Dial was hanging out with his wife and 2 young daughters like all day, like doing yard work, and they I think they had like a pottery wheel in the garage.
Yes, he's cut. So like the wife is in charge of the ceramics program for the prison, which they'd gotten some grant money or something, which I think is great. Like, that seems like a great outlet for people, and I'm glad that the wife wanted to help out with that. But it seems like they're just using him for free labor, like literally at their house.
Yeah, it's like because he was, quote, the caretaker of the property of the home. So yeah, he was like raking leaves and like, I don't know, doing whatever.
He's just their slave?
Yard work, I guess.
This whole thing is really batty.
It's weird. So, like Liz said, Bobby, who is Randy Parker's wife, and Dial began working together when there was money donated to the prison to start an arts program. They often spent time together alone in the Parker's garage, which had been converted to a ceramic studio.
I don't know, maybe get a guy to do this that's, like, not a murderer. Are there not murderers at this prison? It's
Yeah.
minimum security, right? Like, aren't there people that have just, like, not paid their taxes and shit?
I assume so. I doubt this is a minimum security prison full of murderers.
It's like, only the most hardened rapists and murderers here at our
But this
minimum
is the guy
security
who
prison.
gets this,
I
like, special
I
privilege. I don't know. I don't
I don't
understand
get it.
it.
Was he, like, so good at raking? They were like, "No, we have to have him."
Has to be this guy. I think he was just okay, so I'm gonna bring in some knowledge from this unknown episode of TV that I watched, but I think he was just like a fast talker and kind
Sure.
of like was able to like convince people of a lot of things. And Unsolved Mysteries tells us that he and Bobby developed feelings for each other. I don't know if that's true
I don't
because Bobby
buy that at all.
later, after all this is said and done, Bobby says that this was completely against her will and that she was kidnapped. So Unsolved
I
Mysteries,
think
and I
it's
think the
actually
police who would later charge Bobby with a crime want us to believe that they had this romance, but Randolph Dial was manipulative. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was a dangerous man, and I don't really believe anything that he says. So
I think that's really gross for Unsolved Mysteries to insinuate that this was mutual. Like, I'm supposed to believe that this woman develops feelings for this, like, creepy murderer? Like, is it so hard to believe that this guy who's been in prison and not around any women would develop unreciprocated feelings towards the one woman he gets to see? Like, is there ever I don't know, is there ever a case of a man thinking things are mutual when they're not and taking it too far? Would there be any precedent for a
never.
guy
That's never
making
happened in
up
the history of ever.
a
Liz.
relationship in his mind that exists only to him? This poor woman.
Yes. Also, Bobby Parker has access to a car, access to all kinds of things that he needs to escape.
Right.
And there's children in the home he can use to threaten her. Like it's easy to see how he could get control over her and use her and make her do things against her will just by simply threatening her children.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Which he knows a
So,
lot about. He's been at their house. He knows their schedules. He knows
yeah,
he's
absolutely.
he's become like this part of their lives, weirdly. So yeah, God.
Yep.
I don't know. There's actually no evidence that she liked him in any way. I guess she
There's
was
none.
willing to like use him to do yard work.
There's no evidence. I mean, there seems to be evidence that they had a friendly relationship and worked together on this program, but that's not evidence of a romance. And also, Bobby and her husband Randy had a really great relationship. So there's really no evidence that she wanted to be unfaithful or wanted to run away with a prisoner and like leave her children behind. There's no evidence of that at all.
No.
So on August 30th, 1994, Randy and Bobby had breakfast with their daughters. Later, Randy left for work next door at the prison, and the girls left for school. When Randy left, Dial was already there. He was working in the front yard.
Like what? What?
I don't know. At noon, Randy came home for lunch and found that the house was empty. There was a note from Bobby saying that she had gone shopping and had left him a sandwich in the refrigerator. He did not think that this was strange and didn't think that anything was wrong.
He was like, I'm a grown man. I don't know how to make my own sandwich. Thank you.
Yeah. I thought about that too. So Randy returned to work. At 4:45 p.m., his older daughter called him saying that Bobby had not returned home. He did think this was odd, but he just told his daughter not to worry, that his mother had gone shopping. 30 minutes later, he returned home.
Maybe Marshall's was really hopping that day. Maybe she was finding a lot of good deals.
Yeah. I mean, if I don't come home from shopping, you would assume that I would just be, I stopped at Home Goods.
Yeah, Samantha's smelling candles right now. That's all.
I'm busy. So he began to fear that something had happened to his wife. He contacted area hospitals, but no one had any trace of her. He also remembered that he had not seen Dial that afternoon, and he asked an officer to check Dial's cell. The officer discovered that Dial was not there, and he
he's allowed to like do whatever he wants.
maybe at a curfew. I don't know. He wasn't where he was supposed to be at that moment.
Okay.
So Randy feared that Dial had escaped and abducted Bobby in the process. Later that evening, Bobby's mother, Clara, received a call from her daughter. Bobby told Clara to call Randy and the girls and tell them that she loved them. She hung up before she could say anything else.
Again, I'm not sure these people are good people. They seem to be like using prison labor to clean their house, and that's real weird and creepy. But I don't think a woman who's fallen in love and is running away is calling people and being like, tell my children I love them. Tell my husband I love him. Like, I don't think that is something you're doing willingly. Like, this woman thinks she might die. She's calling her mom because she might never get to call her mom again.
Correct. That's my theory as well.
In Unsolved Mysteries was like, and then they exchanged Valentines and held like, no! Stop
that is what the police say, and Unsolved Mysteries I think is just blindly reporting what the police have said. But the fact of the matter is that everyone in Bobby's life, her mom immediately thinks that something bad had happened, that she was, that there was an issue here. Her husband does not believe for a second that she left willingly with Dial, and so no one believes this they fell in love and ran off together story.
I think the police like this story because they want that to happen to them. They're jealous.
Maybe.
They're like, I want to start a ceramics program and seduce the warden's wife. That sounds hot. They're like writing their own fanfic.
So the next day, Bobby did the same thing to her best friend that she did to her mom, and the friend also immediately felt that Bobby was being held against her will.
Samantha, if I call you and I'm like, Samantha, I love you and I miss you, and just tell Mac that I love him, would you be like, Liz met someone else? Like, no! No!
It was nice knowing you, Liz. Enjoy your new life.
Liz is running off to Canada to start a new life willingly. That would not be what you think.
No, definitely not. So 24 hours later, her van was found abandoned across the Texas border. Investigators found that it had been cleaned and there was no evidence of a struggle. They found cigarettes, the brand that Dial smoked, Basic cigarettes.
I have never heard of this brand, and I think it's very funny.
Basic cigarettes.
Basic cigarettes.
Just basic ones. Randy learned from another inmate that for several months, Dial had been actively trying to barter for Valium on the prison black market.
Again, that's not her leaving willingly.
Doesn't seem like it. This led Randy to believe
unless she just loves he was like, hey baby, I got you something for our trip. Valium. And she was like, oh, my favorite. I love Valium. You're definitely not trying to drug me and kidnap me. That's so cute.
Yeah, that's what Randy believed. The Dial had drugged Bobby and kidnapped her. Investigators considered the possibility that she had left willingly. However, apparently Dial had made comments to inmates that he was infatuated with Bobby. It does not mean, I just want to point out that there was a mutual affection. Just Dial being infatuated with her is not that surprising to me, and because he's
in prison talks about only woman he sees. Oh, shocking!
Wow, imagine that.
Shocking.
Obviously, that must be reciprocated.
Yeah.
No, that's very silly. It's very silly to assume that
about the woman whose house he goes to all day. Huh? Okay.
Investigators do, I would say, begrudgingly admit that there's no evidence to suggest that she left willingly with Dial.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. 10 days after Bobby's disappearance, she made a final phone call. This was to her sister-in-law. Once again, she sounded upset. She asked her sister-in-law to tell the girls that she loved them and that everything would be all right. This is the last time anyone heard from her. There have been several sightings of Dial and a woman who may be her. He was like at an art. He was like showing art at like a gallery,
so
and people
funny.
were like, "Hey, isn't that the escaped inmate? And doesn't that woman kind of look like?" Why didn't anyone call the police?
I don't know, because they were too busy buying art, Samantha. You know how it is.
I guess. Why did someone recognize him and possibly recognize her, and he's at this art show and like no one can find him? No one knows where he is. The art place doesn't have his address.
It was, I don't know, it was fake.
I guess. So this woman did have blonde hair.
It is very funny that he's like going to craft shows or something to sell pottery, and he's making her go, and then people are like, hey, is this suspicious? And he just goes, nah, don't worry about it. And everybody goes, oh, cool.
Okay.
Please buy this ceramic replica of the prison that I escaped from.
So if you want to know more about this case, there was an episode of America's Most Wanted. Like I said, there was that Dateline series that I swear is not what I watched. But the result is that he was captured, albeit it took a while. In April 2005, this is, I believe, 10 years after he went missing, a tip from America's Most Wanted led to Dial's arrest. I know, we can't claim this one.
I thought it was Unsolved Mysteries. I hate it.
Yeah, we can't claim this one, unfortunately. So Dial was arrested on a chicken ranch, and Bobby was found alive working on a nearby farm.
So weird.
Dial was returned to prison, and Bobby was reunited with her family, but she was also arraigned. The charges indicate that that the police believed that they were romantically involved, and that she helped escaped, even though she claimed that he kidnapped her. Dial also claimed that their relationship was never romantic.
Okay, even this guy's like, I have to admit, I did not close that deal.
No, he said that he told her he would harm her and her family if she ever tried to leave.
Ugh, this poor woman.
There's also indications that he was abusive.
Of course.
In the episode that I watched, the police were like, well, look, we found love letters. We found a Valentine card she got him. And it's like, okay, that doesn't mean anything. I mean, at all. And even Dial himself was like, yeah, there was no love between us.
Yeah.
So yeah, not great. Fortunately, he's dead. He died in 2007 at the age of 62. Bobby went on trial on July 5th, 2011, and was convicted of helping him escape. She served 6 months of a 1-year sentence. Yeah. If there is
shocking to me.
It is shocking. It's absolutely shocking. If there is a plus side, her husband never once believed that she left willingly, and as far as I can tell, they had, they got back together. They had a loving relationship. They were trying to work through the trauma that she experienced and the trauma that their family experienced, having her be gone for so long. But yeah, it's just a wild story. I can't believe she was gone for so long.
And then had to go to prison.
And then she had to go to prison. And I know she was like,
she should have gotten the same sweetheart prison arrangement where she got to just go make ceramics all day at her own house.
For real. And she was like, I don't remember the exact quote, but when she was interviewed for the show that I watched, she was like, it's going to be hard, but I was a prisoner for a long time. I can do 6 more months or a year.
Oh my God.
I mean, her sentence was a year. She's like, I can do 1 more year. So, yeah.
I'm sure the whole time she just wanted to get back to her children.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And she missed out on 10 years of their life.
And then they take away another 6? Where's the justice in that?
It's horrible. I don't understand why he couldn't have just let her go. I guess it's because maybe she could help the authorities find him, but like,
I'm sure he liked the power of having her.
I'm sure that's true.
He's a sicko.
Yeah.
The warden did have a mustache.
Oh yes. Did you name it?
Yeah, it's not nice. It's it's Jeffrey Dahmer vibes.
Yeah, it does. It does give Jeffrey Dahmer.
It's the glasses are not helping. I mean, there's a certain pair of glasses, and they sort of are in style, and I don't appreciate it that we all associate with Jeffrey Dahmer.
You can't.
I swear, if you put that on the best looking face you ever see, it's still not going to look good.
Nope.
If I see Matt Bomer wearing Jeffrey Dahmer glasses, I'm not going to suddenly go, "Oh, those are good glasses." No. Pass on the glasses. Okay, so you brought more to that than I knew. That story got even more wild. We have another. I feel bad. I feel bad that they said that she wanted that. That's sick.
It is sick. And honestly, like, what did we gain as a community from charging that woman and locking her up? Like,
nothing.
I don't understand.
She just got
I don't understand. Like, let her go live with her family.
That's all that she wanted the whole time. To have a woman taken from her home and from her family, and then to be like she wanted it. It's so gross.
It's disgusting.
I hate it.
And there was no evidence. The only thing they can point to is this supposed like Valentine card they found or whatever. Like
that proves she helped him get out of prison, and not that she was like scared for her life and trying to make him happy. Yeah, right. Gross. Okay. We have another wanted now. So we get a lot of like aerial shots of the Colorado River while Stack waxes poetic about it and tells it that its beauty hides a world of untold secrets.
Amazing. Get that tattooed on you somewhere.
Sure, why not? Like, no, I'm not going to say where. Okay, this includes the fate of Robert Arcieri, who disappeared during a fishing trip. He was known as a fun family man who made friends easily. He was also a con man, so...
And a horrible person.
Yeah, and a dirtbag, so, you know, whatever. He was a born salesman and scam artist. Bob was known in the Phoenix area as the man who could get anything from, quote, soft pretzels to camper shells. He was doing a lot of wheeling and dealing. So
I really loved that was from soft pretzels to camper shells. When we meet some guy that bought a camper shell from him, I need to meet someone who bought a soft pretzel from him.
Where's the soft pretzel story?
Look, I don't need to be conned into buying a soft pretzel. I'm just gonna say
the con is you sell soft pretzels.
It's not necessary to con me. I will just buy a soft pretzel.
I will hand you my money, and then you will say that piece of dough is this outrageous amount of money, and I will say yes.
All right, here you go.
Yes.
Do you take Venmo? I don't have cash on me, but
exactly. The pretzel's already in my mouth. You take Venmo. Okay. So we hear from one of his business associates, Bill, who he would both buy and sell stuff. For some reason, I found one of these people being named Bill and one of these people being named Bob very confusing, even though I realized that once upon a time, there was only like 10 men's names and everybody was named like Bill or Bob, but I'm probably at some point going to get
us out Unsolved Mysteries.
I feel like at some point I'm going to say the wrong B name, but anyway. So we hear from Bill. You know, they did these deals and they would get together sometimes because their wives got along. They were like friendly associates. Bob was fascinated by Bill's collection of rare Kachina dolls, which was apparently worth $75,000.
So much money.
But I was also like, not stolen though. Like that's like gotta be, you know, you go to a gallery in Santa Fe and you pay like full retail for them. Like, this is not like you buy them out of somebody's trunk. You don't like, I was like, how much are you really going to get for these Kachina dolls reselling them? Not $75,000. Don't tell me that because that's not true. He also had a very valuable gun collection and we see a reenactment of, he was like, oh, let me show you this like old gun. And he went to go get it out of the safe. And while he's like putting in the combo, he like Bob is standing right behind him, right? He's not waiting in the other room like he should.
So he walks into the other room, and then the way the reenactment is he like looks over his shoulder, and Bob's just standing
like,
there.
Hey.
And
he's like, oh, hi, here's the gun I wanted to show you, right? Shortly thereafter, Bill's wife Janet came home to find that it was in the process of being robbed. The valuable Kachina dolls were already laid out on the table. Unfortunately, Janet was struck in the head 5 times with a ball-peen hammer.
She almost died.
So unnecessary. Okay, people, if you're going to rob someone's house, I need you to just accept that maybe you will get caught and not hit people in the head with a ball beam hammer. Just go, and how much time are you possibly going to get? I don't know. But don't start assaulting people.
Less time for breaking and entering than you would attempted murder.
Absolutely. You've really escalated things. She woke up in the hospital a couple days later. Like, it's a serious injury. Okay. So the total value of the items stolen from their house was $200,000. While Janet was recuperating, Bob had the nerve to stop by as a concerned friend and make sure that Janet didn't remember anything incriminating.
This is so bold.
Which, fortunately, she did not. Now, I didn't see this coming. We hear from one of those people that are like in shadow, the darkened silhouette talking to the camera, which I love. They don't do this anymore. They just like blur people out. I'm sure it's way easier than coming up with this like lighting situation where you can't see someone's face, but it's so dramatic and good. Anyway, so this person we're hearing from is apparently an admitted contract killer who had done business with Bob. He says that Bob was behind a string of robberies of his own friends and business associates. And what he had a pattern of doing was meeting people who had valuables, befriending them, and then waiting like 2 or 3 years to rob them. And he just had this like cycle going with tons of people all the time.
Completely wild.
So you wouldn't suspect him because you had known him for years. It wasn't like you just met him, showed him your valuables, and were robbed. Suspicious. You would meet him, show him your valuables, and then get robbed 2 years later. And then he would stop by and make sure you didn't remember anything. Anyway, the police were initially skeptical of this story because that sounds like a lot of work, but the details checked out. Authorities were able to record, and we see a reenactment of this, of the contract killer talking to Bob, where Bob pulls out of a previously scheduled murder, where he was like, I thought
previously scheduled
murder. Yes.
Okay, how is that not the title of this episode? A previously scheduled murder.
Where he like calls off a hit, where he's saying like, I thought you wanted me to kill this guy. And he's like, no, it's off. So anyway.
I do realize a hit is just a scheduled murder, but just very funny.
Previously scheduled murder. The contract killer was able to give authorities pieces of Janet's jewelry that had been stolen from the home to corroborate his story. So, at this point, Robert Arcieri was charged on 7 felony counts, and this included heading an organized crime syndicate, racketeering, and conspiracy to commit murder. But I'm guessing he had some connections because a few months later, in November 1986, the charges were dropped pending investigation. They said they needed to gather more evidence.
I thought they claim in Unsolved Mysteries that they dropped the charges so that they could like build a stronger case. I don't really understand how that works.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're saying they charged him too soon and they should have waited and, gathered more evidence.
You could always add more charges though. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, but you're what is the word? Entitled to a speedy trial, right? Like,
yeah, that's true.
There's a certain amount of time after you charge someone, you got to go to trial, so maybe they needed more than that. I don't know. I sort of feel like someone called in a favor and got him released. A few months later, in November 86, oh wait, no, that's when the charges were dropped. So in January of 87, he tells friends that he's been exonerated. Not really true.
Not really what happened, but all right.
And that he wanted to go on a fishing trip to celebrate. So him, his nephew, and 2 close friends go to the Colorado River to an area known as Lee's Ferry. We now hear from his friend Ray Brown, who has a mustache that is named the Gentleman Duster. Just live with that.
The Gentleman Duster. I like it.
Just live with that name. Okay.
I like it.
So on the first day of the trip, Bob began to complain of chest pains, but they weren't so bad that the trip needed to end, you see. He was just laying the groundwork. One of the guys on the trip who does not want to be identified also talks to us in shadow. This episode is so good. Okay. So then what happened was that Bob was getting out of the boat. His nephew was helping him, and the guy in shadow went to use the restroom. When he comes back from the restroom, he hears a large splash. The nephew was in the water, and he said that Bob fell in, and he didn't know where he was.
Oh no!
Which the water is like very clear, and like I don't know if this reenactment takes place actually where this happened, but it seemed like incredibly calm and like not that deep. It's like right by the dock. They were like, it was deeper than he was tall. And I was like, that's not that deep. So you're saying it's like 7 feet deep, clear water.
Chest pains. He just,
So yeah, the idea was that he had a heart attack and he fell in the water and then they couldn't find him. And then there's this intensive 4-day rescue search where they're concerned that he was pulled downstream towards the rapids. Yeah, right. And his one friend that was willing to appear, Ray Brown, really thinks this guy was a family man, and he thinks that he must have died, and he's just loyal to this guy. Was so charmed, he was loyal to the end. And I just wrote down, literally everyone else thinks he faked his death.
Come on, man.
Only Ray Brown was like, no, he would never leave his family. Anyway. Update, guess what? After decades on the run, A viewer trip led authorities to Bob's home in Palm Springs. He had started a new life under the name Frank Reynolds and worked in the construction industry in Washington State before retiring. He ended up sentenced to 10 years in prison.
The idea that you could just retire.
Yeah. I like that I'm assuming he didn't have access to his old money, but yeah, he somehow went on to start a whole new life and save up enough to retire. Wow. And into Palm Springs, no less. Sounds like he was having a great old time. Anyway, they got him. Don't worry. He's not out to steal your Kachina dolls.
Well, good.
Actually, he's probably out by now. Should I read this result? It's so long. Fine. Okay, this is from Unsolved Mysteries. I don't know. This is from Unsolved Mysteries Wiki. He was captured March 2011. Authorities received a tip that Arcieri was alive and living in Palm Springs, California. On June 1st, 2011, he was arrested in his home. He had been on the run for 24 years. According to authorities, shortly after his disappearance, Arcieri started a new life using the name Frank Roman Reynolds, which I have to say, realistic fake name under like Johnny Starbucks or something we heard one time. He moved to Spokane, Washington, remarried, worked in the construction industry before retiring to Palm Springs. He lived in Palm Springs for several years before his arrest. His neighbors called him a community leader who had served as the president of the men's golf club and the homeowners association. This guy was on the homeowners association. He's like gonna come and yell at you about your lawn being too long or whatever. After his arrest, Arcieri returned to Arizona to face the charges against him. Janet was happy to learn he had finally been caught, but she was afraid he would come back to hurt her again. Oh, I'm sorry, Janet. On February 8th, 2012, Arcieri pleaded guilty to 3 counts of conspiracy to commit burglary, 2 counts of solicitation to commit first-degree murder, 1 count of armed robbery, 1 count of fraud. On March 21st, 2012, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison and 5 years probation. On April 1st, 2018, he was released after serving 6 years. He currently lives in Arizona. So when you're in Arizona, Samantha, watch out.
I will.
It is alleged that Arcieri's first wife and children helped him escape and stay on the run. 2 of his daughters live just a few miles from him.
Oh, huh.
Must be a coincidence. One of the daughter's landlords told police that he had met Arcieri and his new wife at the daughter's residence. His daughters introduced him as their uncle, Frank Reynolds. Arcieri's first wife allegedly assisted him financially using the money from an insurance settlement. During a 2013 interview on Dr. Phil, Arcieri's daughter, Christine, admitted that she had helped him fake his death. She said she started planning it shortly after he released from jail. He bought a small motorhome and parked it near Lee's Ferry. When he disappeared that night, he got out of the water, walked to the motorhome, and drove away. That sounds so easy. Like, wait, that's all it took to fake his death.
Apparently.
Getting wet and then leaving. When Arcieri was on the run, Christine visited him often. However, she says she felt guilt and shame about helping him hide. Yeah, okay. According to her, police tracked him down through her cell phone and Facebook account. Oh, she was the weak link. Eventually, she admitted to them that she knew where he was, and which led to his arrest. She and her relatives were never charged with assisting his escape.
Even after admitting to it on Dr. Phil?
Yeah, that seems like a don't.
Things
What
said on
lawyer?
Dr. Phil can and will be held against you in a court of law.
Despite what Dr. Phil tells you, don't trust him. All right, yes, that's the end. Watch out for Arcieri. Protect your Kachina dolls, Arizona.
Yeah. And your antique guns.
Yeah.
All right.
Is that the end? Because there's the upstate. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so let's rate it now.
Okay, mysteriousness.
The sound. What's the sound,
It's pretty
Samantha?
mysterious. It's pretty mysterious.
I suppose the rest of this isn't mysterious, but I'm going to give it a thumbs up just for the sound. Just for
I
the
agree.
Taos hum.
The Taos hum carries the episode of mysterious. Reenactments?
I mean, fine.
They were okay.
Not
Nothing
notable.
Stands out as being super great.
I'm going to say sideways.
Yeah, sideways. Also, fashion.
The only thing I wrote down was, okay, who had that great jacket on? Oh, Bobby's mom is wearing this like blazer with a polka dot collar that I thought was probably her Sunday best. But And there are a lot of mustaches, though.
This is a high mustache episode for being so like late season wise. So do we get a thumbs up for that? There's the eyebrows. There's Dr. Eyebrows.
There's Jeffrey Dahmer glasses. That maybe should be a down. Okay, fine. Thumbs up. Whatever.
And Robert Stack, you know what? I liked Robert Stack in this episode. I don't really know what he's doing. I don't know what his deal is.
You think he's high as fuck?
I think he was on something, at least in the first mystery, but
and good for him.
Yeah. He could afford drugs.
Yeah, so he could afford drugs. Thumbs up.
Yeah. Normal.
On
our Robert Stack scale, you know what? I liked this episode.
Yeah, I think it's solid. It's not
It was interesting.
sad.
There was quite a variety. Despite 2 unnecessary updates, we got 4 mysteries.
Yeah, we got 2 wanted. There's some weird stuff in here.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a mysterious sound, a lost heroes. I mean, shame on Unsolved Mysteries for not talking about the family that died in that fucking car wreck, but
yeah, I feel like it's a 4.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked this episode.
I think it's good. I think everybody that thinks that Bobby fell in love with this inmate should be ashamed of themselves.
I'm not sure that anyone actually thinks that. The police say that. I'm not even sure that they believe it.
They just want it to be true. They're like, that's hot. Yeah. Now there's good info here. There's good stories here.
Mm-hmm.
Twists and turns. Kachina dolls. I mean, just getting into a motorhome and driving away. That's how much effort you put into faking your death. You're just like, I'm out. And everybody's
soft
like,
pretzels. This
wow,
episode has it all.
He must be dead. He's not literally right here, dead in the ground. Okay, yeah. Good job, Unsolved Mysteries. Good job, us. I'm not sure, but
good job you for listening.
Yeah, it's done. It's done now. Should we do recommendations?
Sure. Do you got something to recommend?
I was going to talk about The Sinner.
Okay.
Which is a mystery show. I think it's on USA, but who has cable? I've been watching it on Netflix. So up through season 4 is out now. And I really just wanted to talk about season 4. But so this is a mystery show starring Bill Pullman. Each season is a different mystery. I feel like whether you like, which season is kind of going to depend on you. I'm going to say that season 3 was like not so great, which is sad because I'm bringing him up again, but Matt Bomer was in it. And it's just a waste of that beautiful face. It really was, because there was really like no mystery there. It was not that great.
Yeah.
But I thought the first one was good. First season took me a second to get into it, but it's very good. Second season, really liked. Didn't like the ending so much. Third season, blah. Fourth season, whoa.
Good.
Loved it. It was on the edge of my seat. It's just like so intricate, and the way that everything comes together is so good. It's like this woman who goes missing in this like fishing town, and like how the town is like all connected to her because she's from this like prominent fishing family, whatever.
Oh, okay.
And obviously, because Bill Pullman is there on vacation and this happens like immediately, then he has to investigate her disappearance. Poor guy, can't go anywhere, The acting is so good. I feel like this is like the best use of Bill Pullman I've seen. I feel like in the 90s, he was always cast as like the regular guy. And he's better as like the kind of off-putting weird guy. I think that's a better casting of him. He's like a little too intense detective he just can't let it go. I don't know. It works. The writing is very good. The acting is very good. The whole like ensemble cast is so good. I just loved the way everything like comes together, and I don't know. It was very Wallander-y. I know I'm always trying to get people to watch Wallander and needs more credit. It's like such a good show. I thought this season functioned a lot like that show functions, except that on that show, they have long episodes and every episode is its own mystery. And instead, this is like a season-long mystery.
Sure.
But I could not wait to find out what happened in this. I was really like, oh,
is there going to be another season after this?
I have no idea. Let's find out. What's up with The Sinner? I mean, I sure hope so. What mystery will Bill Pullman get forced to solve next? Or he's just like, I'm supposed to be on vacation with my girlfriend, and now my girlfriend's it was canceled.
Damn.
It's come to an end, despite being a massive hit. Why? Why do this to me? Anyway, I don't really know that you have to watch them all or watch the seasons. You have to watch a whole season. You can't just watch like one episode. That's not gonna make any sense. But I feel like I don't know. I don't know that you really need the like backstory of anything to watch just season 4 if you wanted to.
Okay.
Though season 2 is like this cult thing. I found that very fascinating. So
interesting.
That is my recommendation. Did you have anything for us?
I do. I've been waiting to recommend this for a while because this is like truly improved my life.
Oh.
This is an app. It's a free app. I heard about this on Twitter, just some random like Twitter thread like months ago, and I've been using it like pretty routinely ever since. It's the app Supercook. Have you heard of this?
No.
Okay, so this is an app that you can input. So it's completely free. You need an account. It's for recipes. You need an account if you want to favorite and like save recipes, but it doesn't cost anything. But you can use the app without saving recipes if you don't want to like make an account. So what you do is you download the app and then you input all of the like ingredients that you have on hand. So everything in your fridge and your cupboard, like down to every like it takes a little bit of time to put in all the spices you have and everything, but it's completely worth it because the app will give you a list of recipes that you can make with just the things you have in your house, and you can filter it. So say you want to like
you just blew my mind.
It's a really good app. And say you have like some like spinach that's going to be wilty in 2 days and you really want to cook something with it. You can like pick the key ingredient. You can filter. You can tell the app, okay, I'm willing to go to the store, but I just want to like buy like one thing. So you can pick, like you can expand your recipes by selecting missing one ingredient, missing 2 ingredients, or you can have it only show you recipes that you can make with everything you own. It's so helpful. And the other thing I like, so this is my issue with just Googling recipes or like looking on Pinterest for recipes, is that you get the same results because like only certain websites are like optimized in the search engines, right? So like you get the same fucking food.com recipes. If you just want to like make something with your ground beef and you type in ground beef recipes, you're gonna get the same fucking recipes over and over again. This app like will give you recipes from all, like blogs you've never heard of, and I've made some really tasty things, and it like is real, and you'll be surprised like how much you can make with like the stuff you already have. It's just very helpful. I feel like it's reducing our food waste. It's definitely good for me because I'm like a lazy meal planner. Well, like our household in general, like we're not good at like planning ahead when it comes to meals. I just like, you know, I'll be hungry and I need to make something for dinner and I don't want to go to the store, and I can pull up this app and I can like find something that I can make. It's very helpful. I think the app is well designed. Like I said, it's free and you don't need an account. I do have an account because I find that favoriting recipes is really helpful. But yeah, Supercook. I love it. It was a great recommendation that Twitter gave me, some random person on Twitter. And now I'm giving it to you.
That usually when I hear about an app, I go, wow, what a waste of time. That does not sound helpful at all. I don't know who in Silicon Valley was so desperate to convince us that we needed this thing that does, you know, whatever. But this sounds extremely useful. And this should have been like the first app that was made.
It's one of the most helpful apps. Like it's truly, I feel like, you know, it's funny to joke about there's an app for that, but like this app like truly has like helped me and like improved my life.
No, it just makes so much sense. It just makes so much sense to organize data that way. That seems so helpful.
And the thing about Googling recipes is you always are missing something. No matter what. You're like, oh, this sounds good. And oh, I have to like fucking go to the grocery store to get one fucking thing. Otherwise I can't make this recipe. And I just know if I'm on this app that I'm going to be able to make, like, you do, you know, occasionally I have found out that I've been using it for a while that I'll forget, like, you know, I'll have marked I have bell peppers or something, and then of course like a week later I don't. And so occasionally you do have to, like, if you've used it for a while, like either like update your like pantry in the app to like remove things you don't have, or only put in things like you always have. But it's just so helpful. I just know that if I could pick a recipe and I'm gonna have everything to make it, and I don't have to fucking go to the store for a stalk of celery.
I'm downloading this immediately.
I love it. It's great.
I'm sold. Okay. All right. I assume everyone is now sketching out their Perhaps It's You tattoos.
Please
so
do.
If you have any tattoo flash you've drawn that you want to show us, be sure to post it in our Facebook group.
Wouldn't that make okay?
Yeah,
not that I need to give you something else to do, but like a whole zine full of Perhaps It's You flash.
Okay, we're probably gonna get a coloring sheet. I don't know about a whole zine.
You're see. Right. A flash sheet would be a great coloring sheet.
Flash sheet of the Perhaps It's You tattoos. That's probably gonna have to happen now. Okay, so we are still on Twitter. We are still on Instagram. I don't know what
you post stories occasionally. I like your stories.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I completely abandoned that account. Thankfully, you took it over. We would not be on Instagram anymore.
You should send us your spooky stories. Have you had a weird thing happen with a Ouija board? Have you met a ghost?
Tell us.
Have you seen dark that's darker than the darkness?
What's up with Michelle?
Yeah. Have you met new Michelle? What's she doing these days? That's Perhaps It's You podcast@gmail.com. We need 5-star reviews. I need them.
We need you to download Repod and like our episode.
Yes.
So that we can be number 1 on Repod.
Yeah, we're kind of not number 1 right now, and it kind of really bothers. It's like sand bothering me.
We're not putting out enough episodes.
I know, it's really true, but we're like 3rd or something on Repod right now, and I'm like, unacceptable.
We need to be number 1.
So be sure to like us on Repod, because also Repod is the only app with the decency, the integrity, the honesty to give us money.
Yep.
And also, I'm over there chatting about podcasts and no one cares. So go talk to me.
Talk to Liz on Repod, like our episodes, get us to the top of the charts.
Yes.
The charts, aka Repod.
Yeah, the only chart that matters, Repod.
We just released a Patreon episode. We're talking about the reboot over on Patreon. So if you're interested in hearing us not understand anything about boats, you can go give us $1. Patreon.com/perhapsit'syou.
If you want to learn about the head box, which you don't.
I don't think we're convincing anyone to subscribe to Patreon. Listen, the episode's really good.
It is actually really good, but it's freaky. You've been warned. I think that's it.
Right.
Look, okay, carry through with your tattoo aftercare. Do all those things the tattoo artist tells you. It's for real.
Listen to them. Follow the instructions.
Yeah, exactly. And keep barking, and I don't know, solve some mysteries or don't. If you see someone that's clearly like holding someone kidnapped at an art fair, maybe do tell someone though.
Please listen. See something, say something. I'm not telling you to always do that, but
in that particular case,
sure that they're a convicted murderer who kidnapped a woman and was holding her hostage for 10 years and is now selling art.
And it's like making her sell ceramics. Like,
there's a tip line. Just go Google it. See what an anonymous tip.
Anonymous tip.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye, everybody.